Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media.
Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to the Williwaw Campground near Portage Valley in the Chugach National Forest in Alaska. The campground is located along Williwaw Creek, just outside the resort town of Girdwood, and lies at the foot of the Chugach Mountains. The elevation is low, at around 110 feet above sea level. The climate here is subarctic, with long, cold, snowy winters and mild, short summers. The forests here are temperate rainforests, meaning abundant precipitation year-round leads to dense forests of Sitka spruce, western hemlock, tamarack, white birch, and western red cedar. Common animals you might see include moose in the valleys, with mountain goats and Dall sheep on the peaks and crags of the mountain tops. The predators here are a serious lot and feature wolverines, coyotes, Canadian lynx, and gray wolves, with black and brown bears. This area is a sportsman's paradise, with prime fishing for salmon and hiking trails unparalleled. Birdwatchers from around the world come here to see birds of various types in nearby marshes, and photographers vie for the best spots. The area is becoming renowned for more than just the scenery, though, as there's been a rash of tent invasions by hungry and curious bears. Despite numerous notices of how visitors can avoid or prevent bear confrontation, these incidents are on the rise, and increasing in their degree of danger and trepidation. On June 14, 2024, a couple whom we will refer to as Doug and Dana were tent camping at Williwaw Campground. They'd spent the day taking in the sights and enjoying their time together. By evening time, they prepared to retire to their tent for a good night's rest. As the couple slept, a very dangerous visitor discovered the location of their camp. It isn't clear if this black bear was used to finding food at the campsite or something else had brought it into their tent. One thing is clear is that they didn't store food in their tent and didn't have anything considered attractants that would entice the bear to investigate. No source I could find indicated that they had bear spray or a firearm with them on their camping trip. At around 2:30 a.m., Doug and Dana were awoken by a strange noise. They turned on their flashlights to see a bear's claws pushing through their tent, inward toward them. As they watched, the bear bit onto their tent and pulled and pushed, stretching the material to its limits. Doug began yelling at the bear in an attempt to frighten it away. His actions did nothing to deter the bear in its unclear mission. Within a few seconds, the bear leapt onto the tent and tore the fabric as it was draped over Doug and Dana. The couple knew that they had to fight for their life. This unprovoked attack alarmed them, and they were worried that the bear may want to take their lives. During the fracas, Dana received a wound to her face. Before the bear decided, the attack on the couple was worth less than the risk, and ambled back into the brush. In the morning, Doug and Dana notified authorities of the black bear's escapades. Investigators were sent out and took DNA samples from saliva on the couple's tent and took it to a laboratory for analysis. The results came back and identified the bear was a male, which limited the culprits by half. Following the attack, Dana received medical attention from a local hospital, and her injuries were classified as non-life-threatening. This attack ended much better than it could have, but this black bear was not finished with its investigation into people who were sleeping in their tents. Investigators chalked the attack up to a young male black bear discovering the boundaries of living near human populations, but missed the fact it could be the initiation of a concerning pattern of behavior. On Tuesday morning, June 25th, wildlife officers were patrolling the campground as a young male black bear appeared and meandered amongst the campsites. They watched as it followed its nose through the campground and investigated items that piqued its curiosity. Then the bear did something that raised their concerns, as they realized they had found the bear's behavior demonstrated a familiar pattern. The investigators watched as the bear approached a tent that the officers knew was occupied by sleeping campers. They watched as the bear pawed and bit at the tent, in a continuation of the behaviors exhibited in the prior attack. It isn't certain if this was the same bear or a different one, but the fact it demonstrated the same alarming behavior was a good indicator that it was the same bear. After a brief discussion, the officers determined that the behavior exhibited by the black bear was grounds for it to be removed from the population. They knew if it was allowed to continue this pattern, the odds of it ending in an injured or dead person increased over time. They decided to kill the bear and remove it from the population to head off future problems. After the bear was shot and killed, its body was taken for a necropsy, and DNA samples were pulled for comparison from the prior attack. If the samples matched, then they could conclusively decide that they may have headed off a bear with a dangerous and predatory perspective of people. Following the two incidents, the U.S. Forestry Service closed the surrounding area near the Williwaw Campground, as well as near Black Bear Campground. They also temporarily forbade soft-sided campers and tents for visitors. They noted that the bear had become accustomed to finding food in the campground, and this dangerous habit led to its removal from the population. This proactive approach to problem bear resolution drew its share of critics, and supporters as well. Few people desire to see bears culled who haven't killed or injured people, but waiting until such an event occurs is negligent, according to supporters. The young male black bear was noted as being habituated to people, in general, and observers noted no cubs being present at any point, eliminating the possibility that either incident may have involved a sow with cubs. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon, linked below, will give you ad-free early access to all of our episodes and pictures, and the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce content like this. The state of Alaska hosts an estimated 100,000 black bears. Statistics say that 20% of all bear attack victims do not end up with the victim being admitted to the hospital, meaning their injuries were not serious. 40% of attack victims who die from the attack pass away at the hospital, as opposed to dying during the attack. After reviewing the details of this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. If left alive, would this black bear have been a repeat of the tent-raiding grizzly killed decades prior in Yellowstone? Are bears beginning to determine what a tent is, even without any attractants contained inside? Do you plan to tent camp on your next adventure? I know that I'll opt for a more protective structure than canvas or fabric. I'll gladly read and respond to your thoughts, so please post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it.
Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.